to people that they think that when you say homelessness, the image that everyone gets in their head straight away is someone sat in a doorway on the street in a sleeping bag with a pot asking for money. But that's just like a very small part of it, isn't it, really? So yeah, it's a stereotype that it needs to change, because if it doesn't, then the homelessness situation is never going to change. Yeah, well, it kind of started quite a while ago, to be honest. It was probably around 2016 when I got admitted to a mental health hospital in Gloucester. And then I left there and moved into a charity flat. But you could only stay there for a certain amount of time. So I got pushed into a council flat that was right in the middle of nowhere, wasn't near any family, any friends. And my doctor then decided, and my benefits decided, I was well enough to go back to work. So I went back to work, but that brought on the stress of my mental health problems worse. So I stopped work again, but then I fell behind about a month's rent. And then I started getting my benefits again, and the rent was being paid, but because of the month that I missed, they took it to court 3 times, I think. So it ended up being for 1 month's rent with court costs, about £2,000. And they were saying this got to be paid by this date or you're going to be evicted. And I said, well, I haven't got the money to pay it by that date. So they rocked up one morning and kicked me out. So I had to go to the council and ended up in emergency accommodation. I was stuck in this accommodation for 3 years, going back and forwards with the councils. The housing association wouldn't give me a flat because I owed the previous Stroud Council money, but Stroud wouldn't clear the debt until I paid it, so I couldn't move on. So it was just going backwards and forwards for about easily just over 3 years, I think, until finally the charities stepped in themselves, Greater Change, and finally agreed that the only way that I'm going to ever get out of this situation is if Stroud agreed to clear the debt from a month's rent that was overdue to nearly £2,000. They finally agreed that they were in the wrong for doing that. And then I finally was able to, with the help of yourselves, with the assistance of getting the deposit for my flat, I was able to move and finally get out of that vicious cycle that's just constant, and it's just so difficult to get out of unless you know, because I didn't know anyone or anywhere to turn. So it was just luck really that I stumbled upon the help. So more people need to know about this stuff, because I bet there's hundreds of thousands of people in the same situation that I was. The grant was mainly used for the deposits up front, so that I was able to move in. There was some left over, I think, which paid for, was it? Yeah, it was for my cooker, because everything else I had, but I didn't have the cooker, so it was the deposits and the cooker, so that I could then just move in that day, get the keys, and I was there. And then obviously I had family and friends. My children's mum luckily had had a sofa in her garage because she'd just got a new one, so she was going to get rid of it, but there was nothing wrong with it. So she said, "Oh, I've got you a sofa," and then just gradually built it up over the time that I've been there. So it's a really nice home now, and now I've got my little Coraline as well. It makes it even better. What you guys do is great, because it not only helps the person out, but it actually helps the person feel more part of society. If you see what I mean. My mental health, I've not had any since I've been back and everything's been set up. I've not had any. I mean, obviously, I still suffer from mental health problems and take my medications and things, but I've not had any like repercussions of what I had that put me in hospital in the first place. So I'm no longer taking antidepressants. That stopped after a few months of moving in. My children, when I was in that accommodation, I could not see them anywhere near as much as I wanted. because I couldn't have them there. Even if they said I could, I wouldn't have done, not in somewhere like that. So I used to have to, once a month, book a hotel, family room in a hotel so I could see them. And I wasn't supposed to do that because I wasn't really allowed to leave the apartment the room, sorry, where I was for more than 2 days. But I had to do that so I could see my kids. But now, obviously, because they're just around the corner, they pop in and out. Because they've got a set of keys, it's their home as well. They just come and go as they please. Life is so much happier. I can see my family when I want. Me and my brother have always been really close, and now he's local. We go for dog walks together a few times a week. Catch up. We message every day. I speak to my mum and dad all the time now because they're local. My nan. I can visit my grandpa. He's just gone into a care home, so I can visit him now more as well. And it's kind of just done a complete 360 to what it was. When I think back to how I was when I was in that room to now, it's just like night and day. And to be able to, I honestly didn't think I'd ever be able to get off the antidepressants because I thought, well, that's just what I suffer from, I'll be on them. But to be able to stop taking those is brilliant because they're horrible things. They make me feel you don't feel quite yourself on them. And seeing my doctor after a few months, he said, "Oh, I think we're ready to start easing you off them," and then completely stopped, and everything's been absolutely fine.